Hi. I do not look good. I need to take a shower. I need to do like 7 other things. I need to shave. I have like a little mustache here, despite my best efforts to try and get rid of it. I'm considering laser shaving my face. It's just that costs money. I don't have any right now. So, even though I look ridiculous, it's not very often these days that I'm clear-headed and I'm sat down and I have a good chance to explain myself to the camera. So even though this isn't ideal circumstances to record a video like this, I'm just going to do it. So, I made a video a while ago called I have found financial freedom. That video is absolutely hilariously dipshittedly outdated. And that guy in the video had a very punchable face. And he was wrong. I was coping is what was happening. I was dealing with a lot at the time that I recorded that. And when isn't he dealing with a lot? Yeah, I know. But I was dealing with a lot, and I've had a very tumultuous roller coaster like friendship with a certain person, a certain group of people that has just kind of been going on in the background for the last year and stressed me out because it's someone I care about and wanted to be their friend, but they keep fucking like treating me badly, and it's going back and forth. And I found myself in one of those situations where you're in a situation where you're being mistreated, but you're used to it, and you just kind of think it's normal, and you need to have other people tell you to get out and stop wasting your time. Now that is like 10% of the story. The other 80% is that I basically have lost all my money. Now, I haven't published a video in 4 months. I've recorded maybe 20 videos in the last 4 months that I haven't posted. And all of them are like a half an hour to an hour long. I'm not going to let this one be that long. I actually planned on uploading the last one. I recorded it a couple of weeks ago. But then I ended up going on a political rant in a direction that didn't even come across well. And I watched it back later and I'm like, what on earth are you? Shut up. And I'd rather not. So I'm just going to tell you what's going on with my life and leave all the details out. I have an unlisted video uploaded to the channel and a private video uploaded to the channel that I never made public. The private one is the one that I'm not going to upload. The unlisted one was I uploaded it right after Charlie Kirk got shot while I was still recovering from COVID. So, a lot has happened since my last video. I don't even remember, to be completely honest with you, which parts of my life I have told my YouTube channel and which parts of them that I haven't. So I'm just going to summarize this very quickly. And maybe in the future, I will go and upload some of my ranty videos unlisted and just link to all of them in some description so that if people really want to watch hours of me talking to the camera about nothing except my life, then they can. But I'm going to not even bother. That's like my lowest priority in life right now. I'm not even going to bother with those unless someone really wants me to. But basically, the TLDR is that I recorded several videos about discussing the ethics of day trading and why and whether it's good or bad, and genuinely leaving it open-ended and discussing it for a long time and saying that in general I think it is good if you can succeed at it. And you're going to use the money to do good things that will actually help move the world away from capitalism, kind of an accelerationism thing. Use the stones to destroy the stones. But I was going on that whole topic. Basically, I lost all my money. I'm broke. And I'm just going to be honest about that fact now. I had money that basically my rich grandfather had given me and all his grandchildren for college. And it was put in the form of stocks. Long story short, stock options that were very good deals from a long time ago. And stock options that he exercised sometime in the 1970s. And it was in a certain company. And 2 years ago, I had $110,000. He thought they were going to keep going up. I almost sold out of them. I didn't. And I, because they told me it would keep going up, and I believed them. It didn't. And if any of them had known anything about stocks, they would know that it wasn't going to keep going up. And basically, it just kept going down after that. And I kept waiting just a little bit longer. My family members kept telling me bullshit that turned out to be total bullshit. Like, oh, Trump is going to do an infrastructure bill finally in 2025, and that'll help your stock. And I obviously don't like Trump, but I thought he was going to at least help my stock. But no, didn't do that. I ended up finally selling out of it when it was like 40 something thousand. And I owe like $56,000 in student loans at this time that I'm talking about. And I had like 110,000, and then a year later the stock has gone down so much, and I've gotten out of some of it, like $20,000 worth of it for like a year's worth of living. And I've been living by just selling my stock slowly because I didn't understand. The reasoning really just boils down to this, okay? No nonsense, I'm going to tell you what happened. I can't tell you exactly what happened on this channel because it involves details of individuals who want to remain anonymous, and if this channel did actually end up blowing up in the future, then I'd like to not tell these people's stories to the whole entire world where they might get harassed by strangers. I just don't want to deal with it. So stuff happened that could have been a much larger deal than it was, but wasn't a big deal, and ultimately I just don't want to talk about it. But long story short, it was a large like set of happenstances over many years involving several people that just stressed the shit out of me and made me and made me question my internal sexuality and even gender stuff, and lose my fucking mind slowly, because I wanted to be making videos making the world a better place, but I was also like, at every step of the way, I was in a few abusive friendships with people who weren't treating me well, that I really needed, like I needed emotionally, for reasons I'm going to go into in like some story time video in a future date when I can like script this out and I can think through this properly. I didn't want to just leave these people. They were emotionally important to me, and I wanted to make things right. And whenever I finally would leave some friend group, I would join another one and substitute it. And then it would sometimes even go well for a while and then go bad when interpersonal drama seeped in from the last ones. But basically, what you need to know is my behavior was not good. It ended up not being really a big deal, and I'm so goddamn lucky for that, but it could have been so much worse. And I really just was extremely manically stressed, extremely, like, dealing with extremely intense emotions that I've been bottling up since I was, like, 8. And also dealing with, like uncovering my sexuality and gender and uncovering all this other stuff, while also continuing to deal with my religious parents on, like, a daily basis. And even though I'm, like, an older guy. And I tried being, like, independent for a while. I tried doing YouTube videos, and I was a perfectionist when I had all the time in the world. And I wanted to do certain things that I started, and I never finished. And I'll go ahead and show you sometime soon. And then I got into this whole interpersonal thing that I can't get into, and that started in 2021. And a detail I can tell you is I met my ex-boyfriend in 2021, and then we were a thing for like almost a year, and then in 2022, like a little over a year, and then in 2022, right at the end of it, he broke up with me, and it fucking crushed me. And then at the end of 2023, I got in a relationship with another person, and this was the one that I had known for a little bit, and then this was the one that ended up being kind of like abusive. But there was another one that was abusive before that, but it wasn't even a relationship, it was just a friendship. And then it ended up being a whole lot of ups and downs and interpersonal drama, and me, let's just say it involved the person almost killing themselves. I'm keeping this person completely anonymous. Almost killing themselves, almost fucking... And I'm not saying them because, like, they're trans and or something. I'm saying them because I'm keeping this person, whatever their gender is, completely anonymous, so that you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But this person was, like, completely fucking 100% just, like, manic emotional all the time in like different ways, and it was just a disaster. It was one of those relationships that was like oil and water. It just didn't mix, but it wasn't like oil and water. It was more like fucking sodium and water. Like we would trigger the shit out of each other, but we also just couldn't get away from each other. We had this like connection because we reminded each other of ourselves a little bit in a way that we weren't like ready to admit yet. And so we just had this constant up and down roller coaster of like getting along and then something getting in between us and then getting along again. And it didn't just involve us two, it involved more people too. And eventually it did just involve us two. And then it just became more and more abusive as time went on towards me, even though I was trying my fucking hardest to make it go well and be like a better person and uphold my end of being a good person, and it just didn't go well. I tried my fucking best. It just didn't go well. That is already probably too much information, but that's the really TLDR of like 1/10 of the story of why I was so fucking stressed out and wouldn't make videos. While this was all happening, I just felt like if I make a video, if I upload a fucking YouTube video, and then I just start making gaming videos, and I start making, like, the back rooms, and I start talking about philosophy and capitalism, people are gonna take that the wrong way. It'll just come across really shitty to my friends who, like, think I've treated them badly lately. So I want to, like, fix things between us. I want to, like, be better. I want people to like me more, and then I'll go make my video. And then I find out, after like years and years of stressing out, that part of the reason these people don't like me is because I am not a man of my word. I say I'm going to make videos, I'm going to make art, I'm going to make music, and I have all this intrigue about me, but then I never fucking do anything. But it's like the reason I'm not doing anything is because I'm waiting for you to show me 1 ounce that you care about me as a human being and that you don't think I'm a total degenerate. And it was a whole thing. And this is what happens when you get really intensely emotionally attached to people on the internet that you can't meet in person. Don't do that. We blocked each other and unblocked each other like 7 fucking times, like teens of times. I don't even want to get into it. But basically, what you need to know is that I absolutely broke my brain and had like a mental breakdown. And at some point, I almost tried to kill myself. I got like this close to an attempt, and then I started bawling my eyes out, and I didn't do it, and I went the other way. And it was because of the emotions that I was feeling from this interpersonal drama. So hopefully you can understand that this was serious shit, and this was no joke, and I wasn't just not making YouTube videos because I don't feel like it. And that was reason number 1. Reason number 2 is that I got really skilled at Sony Vegas Pro. Magic's Vegas Pro. It hasn't been Sony Vegas. Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'll kill you. And I got really good at that. I learned all the, like, key binds. I got really skilled at using Vegas Pro. And then I learned that Vegas is awful, and certain types of footage just lag on it because it's not designed to handle OBS. And when I record OBS in a way that doesn't look like dog shit, it lags on Vegas because it has to create a proxy file in real time to edit instead of the original footage. So in every single frame in real time, it's trying to convert the video file to like a format that can be used in the fucking software. So it lags. So you have to create proxy footage before you edit anything. And it was just too much trouble. And then my laptop got robbed. So I lost one of my devices with Vegas Pro on it. I left it in my car at my other place, and someone fucking robbed it. Because you can't have shit in America, in an unlocked car in a city, which is fair enough. And I left it out for one night, and they took it. And there was some sentimental stuff on there, man. And then my desktop computer, I took to Best Buy. I asked the fucking employee like 17 times, are you sure that what I'm doing will like, I don't need to back anything up. This is fine. And he's like, this will just get rid of your applications that you downloaded from Microsoft Store. And it's like, oh, okay. And then it turns out, no, it completely wipes my C drive, which thankfully wasn't my hard drive. My hard drive was an F drive. If my hard drive was the C drive, I would have been fucked. And that guy's miscommunication would have costed me everything. You can see my own face on the phone in the reflection of my glasses. Isn't that something? You can see my own face in the reflection of the glasses on the phone. Anyway, because I'm looking at the phone screen. But what you need to understand is that, man, I'm so easily distractible, jeez. I had this intense experience of just needing to feel okay with all of my friends before I move on with my life. When one of the things that might help me be all right with my friends is either if I move on with my life and become a better person because I'm not spending all my time stressed out about my friendships, or just fucking finding new friends because they're not your friends and they're not treating you well. Get the fuck away from them, you weirdo. And like, I lost my train of thought, so I'm just gonna think for a minute because I don't care anymore about the quality of these videos. I became emotionally invested in just making sure that everything was right and that I had to... And I was also stressed out about trans. I'm just gonna be honest. Trans worldview. I didn't know what the fuck to think or what opinion to have, and I knew that if I wanted to be a popular YouTuber, I had to have an opinion on trans stuff. And the whole thing bothered me. I didn't know what to think about it. And I'll tell you what my opinion is now. Trans people are real, but I don't even like trans people as a denotation to begin with, because it's all kind of a ceding of ground to the right wing in a weird way that is like horseshoe theory. People aren't transgender. They don't wake up one morning and say, I'm transing my gender. They wake up one morning and discover that their gender was always not the one that they were trained to be. And that they're neurodivergent and queer because they were born that way, and that makes them of the other gender. That makes them that makes them something other than their birth sex in the terms of gender. But even then, you could argue that that's just like defining sex that way is like a political thing that has arguments, and that the idea that people deserve to have that denotation as a human rights thing is like only like I have lots of arguments for and against that. And there are genuinely children who need like cross-sex hormones because their brain needs them, because their brain like they react to a normal puberty the same way that everyone else would react to the wrong puberty. So they need the wrong puberty to be the right puberty. And referring to them as the sex they want to be referred to is just a matter of helping their identity and respecting them. But it's also like self-ID is a whole can of worms because it invalidates detransitioners, it invalidates a lot of people. I found out that the reason I have such strong opinions about this and couldn't move past it is because I'm like 25% female trans. Maybe 40%. Maybe it's higher than I think, but I really, like, I think that I could have been groomed into being a trans femme when I was a teenager, so the whole thing bothers me. But every time I wanted to go back to making videos, I want to make political videos, and I couldn't wrap my head around, like, what do I want to say about the trans issue? I don't know. It bothers the shit out of me, and I don't want to, like make my legacy one opinion that I'm going to change 2 years from now. So I was scared to make videos until I knew what I felt about the trans thing. And I didn't finally have like a final opinion about it, like until late 2024. And then even after that, I changed my opinion a couple times after that. So I feel like I've finally reached a comfort point with my opinion about trans people. I accept trans people. I'll accept your pronouns. I don't like the culture. I'm not going to fucking cede ground on that. I don't care. We can talk about, I mean, I do like the culture, but I don't like the idea of self-ID. I don't like a lot of things. Ideally, people could just go get a scan and be told what gender they are or whatever. It shouldn't be a self-ID thing, if that makes sense. But, whatever. It's a whole can of worms. You could argue that itself is... It's just a whole fucking thing. And, gender is not nearly as scientific of a concept as people act like it is. It's very much wishy-washy and reliant on what scientists know to be true, but not know exactly how it's true, and will jump to conclusions because helping people is more important than getting it exactly right or whatever. Because, look, there's people who are unhappy as shit, and then they get the estrogen or the testosterone, and it's like suddenly they're a real human being. With real thoughts and feelings and dreams and hopes and beliefs, like everyone else. So, for the love of God, yes, these people should have the right to cross-sex hormones, and Christianity and religion shouldn't be allowed to strip those people of their humanity and say, your opinion is just a social contagion. People have warped your mind to do this when it's not really good for you. And it was so easy for me to... The reason I had such a hard time with it is because I didn't hate trans people because I vibe with trans people because I am trans. But I also didn't fully vibe with trans people because I'm not fully trans. So it's kind of like how I was bisexual. So, like, I always thought that being gay was a choice because I could just choose to be gay if I wanted to, but it's disgusting. It's like that. Like, no, actually, I only think it's a choice to be gay because it's a choice for me to be gay because I am bi. I think it's a choice to be trans because I am trans. I'm like halfway trans, so you get the point. As an adult, I'm much less trans. I think as a younger person, I could have been convinced to never have male puberty, and I probably would have been fine with that. And that scares me, that terrifies me, because having a child is like really beautiful and important to me, and I really want to do it someday. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I'm 26, almost 27 years old, but basically, what you need to get at, what you need to understand, is that people are complicated. And I didn't know exactly what I believed. I did know exactly what I believed when I started my YouTube channel. And when I said I have things I want to express and things I want to say, I knew I felt that way. But then I started to doubt myself, and I doubted everything because my experiences I'm saying warped my mind, that's like a negative connotation. They totally blew my mind, expanded my brain, because I couldn't possibly be correct in my worldview. I was so certain I was right, and then I couldn't possibly be correct. I was proven wrong by the universe. So I still felt this sense of urgency, like my whole purpose had to be to do something like drastic and important to change the world, but I also just, and like express myself artistically at the very least, in like a selfish way, but I didn't know where to start. And every year or so, I would be ready to do it again, having the motivation, but then some other interpersonal drama would happen. I'd have some other falling out with some friend, or I would do something that I didn't think was bad, but they would take really bad, and we would stop being friends. And I would think, well, now I'm like, after losing this friend, I would become obsessed with trying to win their friendship back, or apologize to them in a way that they would accept, instead of just accepting it's over, just move on with your life. And I would get stuck on things for years, trying to find ways to fix them before moving on and just making fucking videos. In the background, I have actually recorded a shit ton of stuff, but I haven't made anything, because I'm also afraid that if I publish anything, then if I publish something and then I don't publish for a while, I'll tell YouTube, this channel sucks. He posted a video, it got no views, he didn't make any more videos for a while, this channel sucks. Or he made a lot of videos. He made a video a week and they all have 20 views, so this guy's channel really sucks, so just never recommend him again. I want to maintain my recommendable status so that I can get somewhat popular when I start making videos. And that irrational behavior ended up feeding into a feedback loop of you can never start, because when you start, you need to keep going. If you make a video, it needs to be when you can make another video the next week and another video the next week, and they can all be high quality enough that you'll get more viewers every time. So I just would never do it for that reason, and because I had more important things to focus on in my life that felt more important, and because if I made videos and focused all my energy on that, I would be even less present for the people in my lives who are guilt-tripping me that I'm not being present enough, even though I'm trying to be as present as fucking possible. I'm spending all my time and energy on trying to spend time with these people. And then this year, I met some new people, and I stopped one of them from killing themselves like 4 times, and actually helped them out of a mental dark place, and now they're doing better. And I talked about that in a couple of my previous videos. That was a really good reason not to focus on YouTube and focus on my life instead. So, all that being said, now that I've yapped about the previous years of my life, I've given you a real answer. Now what the fuck is going on with my money? Okay, I am not financially free anymore. That video is insanely, hilariously, frustratingly outdated. It is infuriatingly outdated. That video, I want to punch that guy in the face. He doxed himself for no fucking reason, and he fucking talked happy. I wanted to show some people that that I was still trying to stay friends with that, see, I am in control of my life. I'm not a total loser, and it was a fluke. I mean, not the total loser thing. I'm not a total loser, but I mean, at the moment, I consequentially am. I was down to like $46,000 something dollars. I decided I'm going to actually get into investing because I want so badly not to get a normal job, and this will make more money than a normal job anyway. And I'm an obsessive autistic person, so this is like the perfect job for me. I wasted so much fucking money. I watched YouTube obsessively, went around looking for people. A lot of people tried to sell me a course. I didn't buy any of them. One person sold me a $200 course. I did buy that one. Didn't end up being very useful at all. One person ended up selling a $200 thing that I bought and then found out that I didn't even have the capacity to do the thing they were advertising, which is selling options. You need like $100,000 starting capital to even fucking bother selling options. Here I thought I could do that with $20,000 or whatever. You need like $100,000 to even be considered, and like 5 years of experience to even be considered by the firm. And doing that wrong is disastrous and can bankrupt you. So it's like not worth it. To make passive income, you already need to have such an obscene amount of wealth that you can afford to pay thousands of dollars if you're wrong, and it not be a big deal to you, if that makes sense. And basically, I'm obsessed over the stocks market and learning how economics works, learning how macroeconomics works. I still don't know all the details, but I know everything about the stock market, god damn it. I know basically everything about that there is to know about that. But I don't know about macroeconomics as well as I should, but that's like an insanely hard to understand complex thing with so many moving parts. But I understand certain details. I understand the Fed, QT, QE, all that. I get it now. But basically, I became obsessed with day trading and trading and using the money that I had to make more money so I didn't need to get a job, so I could focus my attention on my friends on Discord and on other such things. And I became obsessed with this as my job. I invested $10,000 into XRP because a friend told me about it. I ended up paying $500 in fees to put it in there, so I only had like $9,500. And then it went down to like $9,200. So I got scared and took it out. And then I had to pay another $500 in fees, like $300 in fees. So I ended up with like $8,500. And then I put it back in and ended up losing like $2,000. And what's funny is that XRP did go up a few times. It was just always while I was out of it. I was hilariously, cosmically wrong at it. And I had so much money to throw around that I wasn't being as careful about it as I should have. I ended up losing like $3,000 total, if not a little bit more than that, on XRP. I shorted the S&P 500 the day after, April 4th, the day after it fucking plummeted after Trump announced his tariffs. That was the bottom. It went up from there. It only went up from there. I ended up losing $5,000 before finally admitting that I had made a mistake and cutting my losses. And I had to focus on paying living expenses. By the time I was done with everything, I had about $30,000 left. I finally found a good day trading server. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and the reason why is because I actually was going to tell you what it is, but it turns out that the way this whole system works, if you tell someone about a good day trading server on a public YouTube video, it instantly becomes a dog shit day trading server within like a week, because bots infest it. Wall Street people will go... This is actually something they do because they're scummy fucking human beings. Wall Street people will infiltrate these servers to try and intentionally fuck with them and mess up the strategies by using their own money. Like find ways to, how can we steal money from these people type shit. So it's good to keep these things secret, so I'm going to keep it secret. But I was in a couple of good day trading servers that I had to pay for, and they were really good. And I started in April, and I tried to, and immediately, my first day, I made $2,000. So I thought, I'm financially free, baby. I don't got to worry about money anymore. And I made a video about it. The next day, I lost $4,000. The day after that, I made $2,000 back again. So in total, I made $1,000. In total, I had lost $1,000. I obsessed over getting good at this skill, and I got better at it. I finally got to the point near the end, near like September, around that time, like August, September. I finally got to the point where the majority of the time I was trading, I was making money rather than losing money. But then I was always getting greedy and impatient and scaling up because I was afraid that I would have to get a job. Because so like not getting a job is similar to not making a YouTube video. If I make a video and it's not good and it doesn't get views, then it won't. Then I need to keep making good videos constantly. I should only get a job if I plan on working that job for the foreseeable future. Because if I get a job and quit after 3 months, and then don't have a job for 6 months, and then get another job, and then have that one for 2 months, and then leave again, then I create an expectation for future employers that, oh, this guy isn't a real employee. He doesn't actually stay, so we don't give a shit to hire him. So then no one ever hires me. So then I create a bad circumstance for myself. So I didn't get a job. If I had known that there was easy gig work shit like DoorDash, I would have been doing that for the last 5 years instead of selling out of my stock money to live. I would have just been doing that plus selling out of my stock. I would have been doing both. But no. Maybe I looked into it at some point and thought that you had to get hired and put on and have it be like a hired and you have a consistent schedule thing. I didn't realize that it was just like you can do it whenever you want. It's your own contracting work that you can do in your own pace. And that's what I'm doing now. Basically, I got nervous. I was so socially anxious and so mentally ill that I didn't want to get a job so badly that I was like, I need to scale up fast. Because if I don't, I'm not making money fast enough to keep up with what I'm paying. I'm not making... And my parents had been pressuring me nonstop for years to get a job. My parents had been nonstop screaming in my ear to get a job. And it was starting to grate on me and my self-esteem that they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So I finally was like, fine, you want me to get a job? I'll get a fucking job. And I really, and I had their approval for a while in the day trading stuff. But then I slipped below 25,000. I couldn't constantly day trade anymore. I had to limit myself to the amount of money in a cash day. And even though I won most of the trades I took, I would get greedy and scale up trying to get one big win. And I never did. I fucking never did. The biggest one I ever got was $2,500, which is a lot, but that was in the same week that I had, over the course of a week, lost like $3,000. So it's like I didn't even fucking gain anything out of it. So I would make, like, oh, I made $500 this week. I made $600 this week. I made whatever, but that's not good enough. You can literally just make $700 door dashing. So, like, I wasn't making enough. And so I would scale up, thinking I need to risk more, leverage more, so I can make more, so I can get out of this hole I'm in, or I'll need to get a job. And if I run out of money, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, I would punch you in the head. And I ended up just losing more money. So even though I was winning the majority of my trades, like 70% of the trades, the 30% that I was losing, I was betting more money. I refused to just bet the same amount of money every time. And every time I had a bigger loss, I would discipline myself. I would slow down, do a lower amount, and I'd win over and over and over again. And then I'd be like, okay, this time I'm gonna bet a little more. And then I'd lose that whole fucking week's worth of progress. And I didn't have good risk management, so I was like not doing it in a way that was actually smart risk management. So I was fucking myself in that regard too. There's just like a billion reasons why what I was doing was wrong, and I wasn't sticking to rules. I was going by vibes. A lot of the time, I just really wanted things to happen a certain way, and I would try really hard to do that. And I got really obsessed with that. And I got really obsessed with also helping a friend of mine invest his money. And September, a lot of things happened. So here's what happened in September. I was finally at a point where I had money. I had decided I wasn't going to trade for a while, and I was just going to focus on YouTube and living my life. I crashed my car. I had to fix, I drove the right side of it off the road and hit a curb and hit an upcoming side. It was like one of those gravel roads where you go off the side of it. It wasn't even gravel, it was paved, but it was one of those roads with grass on the sides of it and no like rumble strips. And then off the side is like, oh, this is like a big concrete slab that goes into a parking lot. And I drove off and rammed the front right of my car into the concrete slab. And I had to pay $2,800 plus the cost of the tow truck and stuff to fix the car. And I had like $6,000, $5,000 left after paying rent, after all that was over. And then I got COVID. I got COVID of all things, and I almost died. I had like a 10 to 25% chance of dying if I didn't call an ambulance at 2 a.m. And it turned out I had COVID. It was right after I finally got away from my parents, after fixing my car, gone back home, I got COVID. I couldn't keep water down. I was throwing up so much. I had to go to the hospital, get them pump IV in me. I still haven't gotten my hospital bill in the mail. I might have been covered by some kind of state law that might have been nice to me, but I still don't know what the bill was. That was months ago, and I've never been charged any money for that hospital visit or that ambulance ride. And that's just a miracle because, holy God, I can't afford it. And it was COVID. And I took a couple of pills. Like a week later, I was finally ready. And then Charlie Kirk got shot. And I made like 3 videos about that I decided not to upload any of because I might need a job soon. And I don't want to die because I don't get hired to a job. Because freedom of speech doesn't fucking exist anymore in my country, and I'm not allowed to say what I think about Charlie Kirk. And that happened. And I was overwhelmed as fuck. The month of September was insanely overwhelming. So much Epstein file shit came out about Trump. Charlie Kirk was shot. Everyone knows Israel shot him. But that's a whole nother topic. They find life on fucking Mars. They find water on Mars. Or life on Mars, I think. Like, they think they might have actually found life on Mars. A bunch of other shit happens that I forget off the top of my head. September was a crazy news week. It was absolutely news month. It was definitely a month where centuries happened. Is how it came across to me. It was a week where decades happened, and then a month where centuries happened. And since then, Sora 2 has come out. Also, this shit has happened. I made a bet. I got to mental rock bottom, and I just bet the remaining money I had on a play. And what's absolutely amazing is if I had done the play right, which I had, with the decision that I made, I would have, if I had done the right thing that I literally, like, knew beforehand was the right thing to do, I would have made 20, I was a strangle where I did both a put and a call, and I had to get rid of one so that the other would gain value. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But I didn't get out of one because I thought, what if it loses even more value? But it can't lose even more value because that's how options work. Once you've lost 100% of the value, you can't lose anymore. So it only has something to gain. So I would have been guaranteed to make money, but or at least make back what I had lost and then start to make money. But I didn't do that. I would have made like $2,700 to $4,000. But instead, I lost $4,300 because I held both and then it stopped in the middle. It was on FOMC day where it went super high, super low, super back up a little bit, and then to the middle, and then just stayed there for the rest of the day. I lost $4,300 and I had almost no money left. And I had to paint my parents' house and get paid $2,000 to do so. And start door dashing. And get loans from my parents and a friend of mine to not lose my money. I helped my friend invest some money in a big startup rare earth thing. And it actually did really well. We were up $7,000, which we would have split between the two of us for $3,500 each. But I said, let's not do it because it's only going to keep growing. And he agreed. And then Trump goes and tweets, oh, we're actually getting along with China now. And who knows if that's true. But the reason that rare earth was going up was because we weren't getting along with China. So we were going to have to produce our own rare earth shit. But now, it looks like we'll get along with China after all. Which we're not going to. So we have the worst of both worlds. We're not getting along with China, and we can't even make money from the evil shit that America would do instead of China if we don't get along with China. So, like, the bad guys lose and the good guys lose. So I couldn't profit off the bad guys winning, and the good guys aren't going to win either. So it's just the shittiest of all worlds. I lost my money, and the thing I don't believe in is going to happen. I don't actually want rare earth mining to be the fucking main source of wealth in the United States. I don't. But if it's going to happen and I can make $100,000 out of it, windfall to change my life, and then use that money to like fucking like stop like make a commune and like make a whole community of people not reliant on money, and then like build like make a world that is socially push for a world that's not reliant on fossil fuels and just lives in communes with their friends. I wanted to start that fucking social movement. If that stock had kept climbing at the price rate that it was climbing at, if Trump hadn't have fucking said anything, me and my friend would have made like $50,000 minimum, probably closer to $100,000. But instead, he lost the money. And I obsessed a couple more times over trying to make him money. I did a couple times, but then I lose more in the we ended up losing all of his money too. So now I'm just out of money. And then I tried trading one more time recently, and I lost $300 out of the $400 I had to trade with. And I'm done trading. I promised all my friends that I'm done trading. I tried to promise my family I'm done trading. So I have lost all of my money. I am broke, and that's the situation. That's why I haven't made videos, because I've been grinding the fuck out of DoorDash. I have been 24/7ing DoorDash and other such things just to maintain being afloat. And that's where I'm at right now. I have to DoorDash, even though it's winter. And right now, I'm taking a couple of days off while I can't afford to, just because the Amazing Digital Circus episode 7 is coming out, and I want to watch it with my friends when it comes out. And tomorrow is a yearly traditional gaming thing that I do with a friend from college. I don't even have the money to be doing that, but I'm doing it anyway because I gotta live my life a little bit. Because if I just work so that I'm, don't go broke or whatever, but then I don't get a chance to relax again until I'm 32, and now all my friends are gone. Well, then now all my friends are gone. So I'm taking the next 2 days off, and then I'm working my ass off for 12 hours a day, probably through the Christmas season, probably through the new year. In my free time, I will try to make videos, but I can't promise you anything. That is all. This is my final actual explanation for why I haven't uploaded videos, and I will never speak those words in a fucking video again. Now, I have recorded hundreds of hours of me playing various video games and just of cool scenes with my phone. I've taken screenshots of lots of things that go back to 2017. I'm not going to go and make videos out of all the stuff I did in the past, but I am going to use that backlog as a free source of footage and treat the rest of it like a diary, frankly. And I'll upload it someday if I feel like it. And a lot of the footage I recorded is with people who are no longer friends with me and want nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to edit it together into a YouTube video and upload it and piss them off, because I respect their human boundaries. And yeah. And then I have friends from high school that I made videos with. I haven't talked to them in ages. Mostly because I didn't want them to know I was suffering from all this shit. I wanted them to see me at my best, not at my worst. And I wanted to wait until I fixed my life to talk to them again. So I'm going to be showing them this video and the other rant video. And yeah. So that being said, I'm going to make some YouTube videos. I'm going to upload some of the videos that I've recorded already after this one, and I think I'm just going to title the videos the date that they were recorded. Or put that in parentheses or something. So that people can know. I'll upload some of them public, some of them unlisted, because I don't want to deal with it. And I just won't upload some of them because they're slightly unhinged. They're not that bad, but like, I don't know, I shouldn't vent about Israel too hard in the wrong ways, lest people think I'm a Nazi. So that's one example. So yeah. But I just got to be more careful about the things I say and the way I say them, basically. I mean, fuck the state of Israel. Let me just be very clear about that. But and the genocide going on in Gaza. I'm not scared to say any of that. But I said some things that towed the line of anti-Semitism just a little bit. And frankly, they deserve it after all the white racism. But racism is bad. Don't do that. I'm not going to get into that right now. That's a whole nother day. But I really just want to make the world better. I want to make my life better. And I feel better after recording this. Honestly, a lot of what YouTube is for me is like therapy, me talking through my things, but also me feeling like I'm accomplishing something. So, yeah. Thank you